Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how your parents tense up when you talk about investing in index funds? Or when you mention your focus on building multiple income streams before buying a house? Maybe you've seen that concerned look on their face when you discuss changing jobs for better opportunities. Here's a shocking truth. The financial advice that worked perfectly for your parents might actually be holding back your wealth-building potential today. I'm not talking about small differences here. I'm talking about potentially hundreds of thousands in lost opportunities. The strategies that built wealth in the 1980s and 90s need serious updating for today's economic reality. Today, I'm going to show you why this happens, what you might be doing wrong without even realizing it, and most importantly, what you should be doing instead. And trust me, some of these insights might surprise you. If you want to learn more about building wealth in today's world and get practical financial advice that actually works, make sure to follow this channel. We break down complex money topics into simple, actionable steps that you can use right away, without the outdated thinking that might be holding you back. Here's the thing. The world your parents built their wealth in doesn't exist anymore. Interest rates, job markets, investment opportunities, everything has fundamentally changed. Think about this. In your parents' generation, putting money in a savings account could earn you 10% or more in interest. Today, you're lucky if you get a few percent. That's not just a small difference. It's a complete shift in how we need to think about growing wealth. The cost of education has increased by over 1,200% since 1980, while wages haven't kept nearly the same pace. The traditional path of study hard, get a stable job, buy a house as soon as possible, and retire with a pension has become more complex than a reliable strategy. We're dealing with a completely different economic landscape, and we need different tools to navigate it. Let's start with one of the most demanding pieces of advice. Stay loyal to one company and they'll take care of you. This might have worked when companies offered pension plans and steady promotions, but today's reality is different. Research shows that employees who stay at companies longer than 2 years earn 50% less over their lifetime than those who strategically change jobs. Let that sink in. Your loyalty might be cutting your earning potential in half. In today's job market, the biggest salary jumps typically come from changing companies, not from internal promotions. I've seen cases where people increase their salary by 20 to 30% through a single strategic job change, while their colleagues who stayed put receive the standard 2 to 3% annual raise. The modern path to higher earnings often means being willing to switch companies every few years for better opportunities. This isn't about being disloyal. It's about adapting to how the job market actually works today. Next up, let's talk about one of the most complex financial decisions, home ownership. Your parents might say, buy a house as soon as possible, it's always a good investment. But the reality is more nuanced. Real estate can be a powerful wealth-building tool when used at the right time and in the right way. The potential benefits are clear. Property appreciation over time, leverage through mortgage financing, and building equity instead of paying rent. However, rushing into home ownership too early could actually slow down your wealth accumulation. That 20% down payment plus closing costs could be capital that might serve you better elsewhere, like starting a business, building additional income streams, or investing in a diversified portfolio. Consider this: a $50,000 down payment invested in starting a successful side business could generate ongoing income that eventually helps you buy an even better property. Plus, the housing market isn't guaranteed to appreciate like it has in recent years. The key is timing. Consider home ownership when you have stable income, have built other wealth-building foundations, and found a property where you're willing to live for many years. Here's another outdated gem: all debt is bad. This oversimplified view ignores the power of strategic debt. There's a massive difference between high-interest consumer debt and low-interest debt used for building wealth. Using debt wisely, like leveraging low-interest loans for investments that generate higher returns, can actually accelerate your wealth building. Think about this. If you can borrow at 4% to invest in opportunities that return 8 to 10% on average over the long term, you're actually creating wealth with that debt. The key is to understanding the difference between destructive and constructive debt. Credit card debt at 20% interest? That's destructive. A low-interest business loan to expand a profitable side hustle? That could be constructive. Your parents' generation didn't have access to many of the low-interest borrowing opportunities we have today, which is why their attitude toward all debt tends to be more conservative. Your parents might be skeptical about modern investment opportunities, preferring safer options like certificates of deposit. But here's what's changed. Today's digital platforms have democratized investing. You can build a globally diversified portfolio with minimal fees, something that was impossible for previous generations. Back then, investing meant either buying individual stocks with high trading fees or paying expensive financial advisors who often had conflicts of interest. Today, you can invest in thousands of companies worldwide with a single click, paying fees that are often less than 0.1%. A balanced portfolio of low-cost index funds spanning global markets has historically outperformed traditional safe investments by a significant margin over the long term. We're talking about the difference between earning 7 to 10% average annual returns versus the 1 to 2% you might get from traditional safe investments. So what works today? First, aim to invest 15 to 25% of your income, focusing on low-cost, diversified investments. Consider a portfolio mix of 70 to 80% stocks and 20 to 30% bonds when you're young, adjusting as you age. Don't just stop there. Take advantage of global investment opportunities. The world is your investment playground now. Remember, your most valuable asset is your earning potential. Invest in skills that increase your market value. The return on investment from learning in-demand skills can far exceed what you'll earn in the stock market. Think about it. A $1,000 investment in yourself that leads to a $5,000 annual salary increase is equivalent to a 500% return. Try getting that in the stock market. I know what you're thinking. How do you handle the emotional aspect of going against your parents' advice? Remember, you can respect their experience while acknowledging that times have changed. Their advice comes from a place of care, but it's based on a different economic reality. When they tell you to keep all your money in a savings account to be safe, understand that they lived through periods of high interest rates where that strategy made sense. Instead of arguing, focus on understanding the principles behind their advice: security, growth, and responsibility, and explain how you're applying these same principles with modern tools and strategies. The key to building wealth today isn't following outdated rules. It's adapting to our new financial reality. Understand the principles behind your parents' advice, but update them for today's world. Stay informed, be strategic about debt, invest globally, and never stop growing your skills. The tools and opportunities available today are unique. You just need to know how to use them wisely. Your parents' generation had to build wealth with limited tools and information. You have access to global markets, instant information, and investment opportunities that they couldn't even imagine. Their fundamental values about saving and being responsible with money are still valuable. We're just using different tools and strategies to apply them. The world has changed, and your wealth building strategy needs to change with it.